when you look back, you realize that you were interacting with some very special people. And 20 years later, you see that because you see that these people have gone and done incredible things. And a lot of them are still my friends. I speak to them from other schools.
The entire experience has remained with me as a continuum of emotions, alternating between excitement and sleeplessness.
An experience I will never forget, because it was like a whole new world opened up in front of my eyes. I didn't know it existed.
Looking back, I think the weirdest memory is how competitive me and my partner were. Like, we were in it to win it. I never played competitive sports, but I think now watching movies and TV shows about athletes and how they're on it, like with an obsession, I think of my forensics years.
It was a lot of fun to do, and just hearing that reaction from the audience and going up and doing it in front of all these other people. Yeah, you get a bit of a buzz from that, and I really liked that.
Having the audience really close to you, which is always much, much scarier than being on a stage.
Going away, the tournament closing down, because it was such, especially the Thessaloniki years, was such exciting build-up as an Athenian school to go to Thessaloniki and be hosted and meet other participants. And then you would get that cathartic moment at the end of the 3-day weekend. And I just remember everybody feeling very healthily drained. And
it was so nice to be around lots of people who were also interested in drama, interested in literature, and interested in performing.
You become like a second family, especially at that time when you're starting to reach 15, 16, and you're starting to look for friends who can be like family.
I remember everyone helping everyone. So just feeling that we're an entire group, and it doesn't matter who wins, it doesn't matter what is happening. Like, you literally grab someone whose name you don't even know from the school and you're like, hey, watch me, critique me, do it now.
This event, although I had no idea at the time, opened another very big door for me, which is trying to help others find their inner voice, find their confidence, and do their best. At that moment, my partner felt insecure. He felt that he's not certain if he can deliver what he wants to deliver, and I was able to fall into this role where I could encourage him and I could inspire him perhaps to say, yes, you can do it, we will do it together.
We really poured hours and hours of like real work, and it was good work. It was exercises. It was everything you needed to get into the state of mind for the piece, to empathize with the character you were about to play.
I can still remember that she would pull my hair on stage, and I would fall on my knees, and these were things that made me suffer a little bit when acting. But I remember no pain at all on stage at the finals.
In 1979, my first ever tournament, 2 weeks before the tournament, the topic was nuclear energy should replace organic energy sources. Wow! I was 13 years of age, and each term of the topic was utterly unknown to me. Of course, there was no internet to search for things, and so we had to resort to newspaper clippings, go to the library, photocopy material, and then cut it up in cards.
Taught me literally more things than 12 years in formal education. It teaches you the importance of structuring an argument. It teaches you to think analytically. It teaches you to identify merits and flaws in both sides. It teaches you how to sort of respect and also try and understand a different perspective, and how to be strategic in demolishing it.
What we probably fail to understand throughout our lives, and this is a major takeaway, is that we spend most of our time in life not making decisions ourselves, but influencing others to make decisions.
Right.
So most of our time in life is about influencing others. we influence our bosses, we influence our teachers, our peers, our kids. We talk to them and we need to structure emotional and logical arguments that will convince them or will help them go one way or the other.
It was just like stepping outside of my body and letting inspiration come to me. And that felt so good. I remember the nerves. I still feel the same nerves anytime I go on TV because I work on TV. The same nerves, the same butterflies in the stomach. I first felt them in my life during impromptu competitions because there was just no way to know what was coming at you.
Once you have practiced coming up with something interesting in a minute and a half, well, it gets easier in job meetings to come up with something to say or in a job interview. So I have carried that ability to think on my feet, to make points of information, to make rebuttal, to question what I'm reading, what I'm hearing.
I remember being mic'd up and being like, oh no, there's an extra weight on me.
The finals were always a moment of reckoning because everyone was there, right?
So I think this 1 hour prep before the final is the most exhausting in terms of psychological sort of tension and the most productive 1 hour of my life ever. I don't think I've come up with so many ideas so quickly ever before in my life.
You know, the one memory that really struck with me is walking into the Anatolia library right before the debate final. And what really struck me was the silence. You know, that room had 60 people when you begin the tournament, and there were just 4 of us.
I think that the break announcement at the party on Saturday was one of the most happy and exciting times of my life. So I think that all my excitement and my stress had run out by the time of the final. So I was surprisingly in a place to just enjoy the final. I wasn't that stressed about winning.
You learn to accept other people's judgment, no matter how much you agree with it or not. But this is life again. Sometimes you're on the winning side and sometimes you're not. And these are great lessons, and I don't even talk about it in hindsight. I even talk about it back then because there's a lot of camaraderie. You know, you lose, people see you're disappointed, so they come and console you. They try and crack jokes, and around all that, there's added camaraderie that's created, friendships that actually have survived decades later.
I learned some of the most basic skills in forensics that have taken me through the rest of my life. How to put together an argument, how to speak in front of people, how to present evidence for your reasoning.
And the problem, I think, with the formal Greek curriculum is that it doesn't give you a sufficiently worldly perspective. It's very ethnocentric. Debate inherently teaches you to try and understand the world.
It also ratifies that whatever we were doing up until that point in Greece, in the program, was working, not only for high school students, not only at the high school level. We got in front of a university team from the University of Montreal and we beat them, quote unquote. We won the debate. It became a global event. It was in '87 that we did that. It was 10 years after that we had the first World Universities Debating Championship hosted by Greece in Meganomousikis in Athena. Who would have thought that what used to be an internal event between schools in Athens and Thessaloniki, English-speaking schools, would have become the focus of an international university debating event?
I definitely learned how to make something out of nothing. So not to rely on props, not to rely on makeup, hair, anything. Just get a good performance, put it out there. It'll be good enough.
And lastly, gosh, like what did I take away from it? A hell of a lot of confidence. It really helped. It really helped, especially at that stage, and confidence and a desire for experimental creativity.